addressing maybe the single biggest challenge that we see sellers facing right now in moving from selling the one home to either buying or downsizing into the next place.
And I mean, like,
we've got Chantry Abbott with Guild Mortgage. Guild, not Guilt Mortgage. I like to always clarify that. Chant with Guild. Welcome, brother.
Howdy.
Jesse Paul in his Red Day shirt. We're going to talk about Red Day also.
yeah, today's the day.
Today's the day, guys. We're Keller Williams Realty offices nationwide. We don't close per se, but hundreds of thousands of agents will be involved in a service project in their local community. We'll be down at the Utah Food Bank, which, that's a whole fascinating thing. Welcome to the St. George Real Estate Morning Drive. Do you guys know Don Ipson? Anyway,
Yeah.
state
Yeah.
representative.
Yeah.
Great guy. So he's really close friends with my fiance Jen. And Jen's corporate lobbyist, and Don's been with the House of Representatives and represents Southern Utah. And he was at my house. They actually stopped in last week just to say hello because he and Jen are good friends. He said, "Hey, I'll swing by Jeremy's home. He lives like 6 blocks from me." And we were chatting about, which I did not expect to go down this road, but we will. Guys, it is like 60% of, this is a crazy number of elementary kids have needed some sort of food assistance in the last couple of years.
That's wild.
It's
Wow.
wild.
Here in Washington County, or that's
I think
statewide?
Statewide.
Statewide, you have so many people. And so one of the things that, of course, what they do, like Utah Food Bank is, because what happens is these kids, they a lot of the time don't have something to eat. So they'll get food during the week.
During
right?
school. Mm-hmm.
And then when they go home on the weekend, they're hungry.
Yep.
Which is where Tan's Treats comes in. It's where, we do our annual Thanksgiving basket brigade, and people are like, how can you deliver Thanksgiving to 365 homes? Who needs Thanksgiving? Well, I've never been food scarce, but apparently a lot of people are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
I can see how that's true.
So,
Especially these days. I can see that number getting bigger with inflation.
Yeah. Oh,
I mean, I can't even tell you how much my food bills gone up
yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
for just my wife and I
Just on breakfast
over the
burritos,
last 2 years.
right? Okay. Jesse loves a breakfast burrito, doesn't he, Chant?
Yeah. Breakfast burritos and bratwurst. No one,
Yeah.
no
Yeah.
wonder
This
I'm
guy, if you take
chubby
Jesse
wubby.
to any restaurant, Chantry witnessed it. I just ordered the burrito for Jesse before the server.
They don't even ask me anymore.
So Chantry Abbott's here with Guild Mortgage. We're, of course, with the Larkin Group, Keller Williams Realty. Legal disclaimers out of the way. Let's talk about this, Chant. You and I were visiting yesterday. This is one of the number one challenges, and I'm excited about the solution, that buyers are coming to you. They're preparing to write an offer or thinking about writing an offer. They're thinking about moving. They're thinking about buying a home. And then if they own a home, they run into a snag, which is what?
Yeah. How can I do all this together? Because I can't have 2 mortgages and I need to use the equity in my house for a down payment on the new purchase. How can we do all this?
Right.
And this is such a great time to have this conversation, because what is the number one reason we're seeing cancellations right now? They can't get their other home sold.
Yeah.
Correct.
If for some reason, I'm not sure, you guys might know, it's a bigger challenge right now than I ever remember.
Yeah.
Do you guys feel that way a little bit? Like, I'm like, everybody that's coming to me, if they're not a first-time home buyer, we're trying to play the game of how can we own this house and buy that house without getting stuck in a bad spot?
And it's a chess game, right? Meaning we're moving the pieces around on the playing board.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I don't know that it's more challenging than ever, but we're seeing, well, I guess that is the right way to say it, because what they actually need to make that move is a lot more money than it's ever has been, right? Because of prices and because of interest rates.
This is good.
Good point.
Right?
This guy's, he doesn't just look good.
Yeah, because it's not 20 or 30 or 40 grand they're going to pull out.
Well,
it's 500 in some cases.
Because I was going to say, well, it's because of the expectation. But is it really? It's because of the amount of money they actually need to pull it off.
I was in this conversation. So we're affiliated with the Keller Williams International with the luxury homes division. And we had a little luxury kind of pseudo mastermind, 7 or 8 of us right here in our training room this week. Agents who have kind of qualified and they're in the program. And we got talking about the fact that for KW internationally they define the luxury price point in every city, right? Mm-hmm. So in Park City, it's $1.5 million, and we're laughing because we're like, yeah, right. The median home price in Park City is $2 million. So they'll raise it. But Remember Chantry 10 years ago, what $1 million home was here?
Oh, I didn't ever do a loan on $1 million home
Correct.
for 10 years.
$1 million home today, it's not that it's not a nice home, but it's not what we used to think was luxury, right?
Yeah, just an average
Right,
home in a
right.
nice neighborhood.
Yeah. And so
Yeah.
the thing I said to these agents, because I can tend to get pretty passionate, I said, do realtors have any concept? Do realtors actually slow down and see what the payment is that they're, by the way, it's not our fault, but do they have compassion? Do we have compassion for what buyers are actually paying? You know, you want to go in and purchase $1 million home. Well, first of all, Chant, if they want 20% down, that's, you know, 200K.
200K, yeah.
So $200,000, they have to pull from somewhere. What's, just for fun, $1 million home, $200K down, just rough house payment. I can tell you right now what it is because I'm on Zillow all the time. But what's your
$5,600 maybe?
bingo?
Yeah.
Like this is right. So Jesse, I think this is why it's so tricky for folks saying, I need to buy a home and we want to offer a solution we're going to offer a solution today. I need to buy my next home, or maybe we'll talk about, I need to move to an assisted living facility.
Yeah.
Yet I have a home, and here's the problem. Let's run the scenario. If I need to buy the next home and my equity's in my house, how do I tap the equity? How do I not get stretched out over a thing, right? And if I'm moving to assisted living, we met yesterday with the folks at the Sunbrook senior living facility yesterday. It's phenomenal. Annette Decker, what a cool lady,
it
and
was
Garrett
so
Wilkerson.
cool.
So we're down there. He can't even wait, but he's going to have to wait.
I'm
You can
gonna
hear him.
have
He's
to.
gasping for air.
So
We met with them yesterday, and it is such a typical scenario, Chant, that these people, they don't expect they need to downsize. I'm never going to assisted living. Somebody has a slip and fall. Somebody has a stroke. Somebody gets diagnosed with dementia. Suddenly they're catapulted. And the problem is they're in a house. They're in a house full of things, full of 30, 40, 50, 60 years of marriage.
Right.
They don't know what to do with the things. They can't get the equity. The issue is these rooms go fairly quickly in these facilities.
Yeah, the nice ones go quick. Yeah.
Now,
So
Jesse Paul.
it wasn't even about that. I wanted to put into perspective what's really happening in the scenario we were talking about. In 2021, the average mortgage payment in Washington County was $1,443.
Come on. It is funny, isn't it?
In
This is great.
2025, the average mortgage payment is $3,200.
It's like a stand-up routine. It's so funny, right?
Like,
If it weren't so sad, it would be hilarious.
it's like, whoa.
So we went from $1,400 to $3,200 as an average mortgage payment.
Yep.
You're pulling this from the Revengers app.
Yeah.
So good.
That's cool. That
And
makes
so-
sense, though.
and so-
I'm thinking about what that buys, and that's
Right.
median
and
home
so,
price.
And so that's the trade they're making, right?
Yeah.
And so, and I guess that just supports what you said. It's the hardest time I've ever seen for people to figure out that move.
So
Yeah.
let's talk about in our time. Chantry is with Guild Mortgage. He's worked with us for decades, literally.
Yeah.
And traditionally, when we met with Annette and Garrett over at Sunbrook yesterday, we talked about our cash CPO our senior living CPO, which is certified pre-owned. And we'll talk about what this is. We talked about a solution to transition downsizers, empty nesters, out of their home, right, and before they've dealt with all the things they need to deal with in the home. And she said, "Is this a bridge loan?" And we said, "No." So what are some of the traditional options people would go for?
Well, the two that I don't like as a solution, because I think it is a scary proposition, is number one, let's just write an offer contingent on you selling your home.
Right.
What the problem with that, as you guys know, is that that's not a very strong offer.
No. And very rarely do sellers jump for the chance to take a contingent.
It's almost like they take it if it's a last resort option kind of a thing.
If
Do
they're
I
in
have
pain.
to? Mm-hmm.
So sellers are like not very interested. And it's still a little scary because now these people have got a ticking clock on a house they really want, and they got to get their house sold. And the only way to get a house sold really fast is start reducing the price too fast.
Correct.
And then the second option I even like less than, and I do these and I make money on these when we do them, and it's a good solution for some people in the right situation, is the bridge loan.
Mm-hmm.
So what a bridge loan is we take your existing home, you've got a bunch of equity into it. We're gonna tap into that equity essentially with a second mortgage, and we're gonna use it to the down payment on the new purchase. You're gonna get your house listed for sale. The nice thing about the bridge loans is like I have one that they gives them 12 whole months to sell their house. They're being charged interest, but they're not making payments.
Yeah.
But loan balance is growing. Quite a bit of fees to get it done, to be honest. The most traditional bridge loans, they still have to continue making potentially at that point 3 house payments.
Ooh.
That's a scary situation.
Well, can I add a third? Not that you, I mean, because you don't handle HELOCs. Option 3 that I've done. So when I moved from downtown to the Hope Street property I'm in, I pulled $105,000 of my equity from my other house.
Right.
I didn't want to pull a ton of cash out of my current home or out of my business at the time because we had just finished this renovation. There was no cash. Well, there was there were about $3.25, but you know what I mean? That's what was left after this building.
Yeah.
So I pulled equity from that other house. Well, Chant, here's the issue. If you pull money from your home equity line of credit, A, you have to have one or go get a HELOC, which takes a month. And B, it's interest only, right? So the next thing I knew, I woke up, guys, I had borrowed money for the down payment on the home. Then I pulled money from the same HELOC to do some renovations. Now, this is before I sold the old home. I eventually sold and paid the whole thing off. But I woke up one day when rates had gotten out of control, HELOC rates.
Yeah.
My payment on my HELOC, not the mortgage on the home, was $1,600 a month.
So essentially, you were paying 3 mortgages.
Yeah.
You got it,
Yeah.
amigo.
Yeah.
3 payments. 3 payments, dudes.
Yeah,
So
that's just not feasible for most people.
So this has been kind of exciting. Jesse and I a few months ago, and if you're listening, I want to tell you who this message is for, right? Obviously, anybody who's thinking about buying and selling or just enjoys our form of entertainment can listen. But if you're buying and then if you're selling your home and buying another, right? Specifically, if you're, for instance, a senior who's saying, we don't know if we can or trust that we can get out of our place to downsize or to move into assisted care. If you're a buyer purchasing new construction, you find a new construction, but here's the thing with new construction. By the time you sell your home, it's sold out from under you.
Yeah.
Or maybe you're just a seller who says, gosh, could you guys help me make the bridge with that bridge loan? We have a program. A few months ago, our friend Rowena Patton reached out. She's out of Asheville, North Carolina, asked us to partner and help her grow Utah. And what it looks like, it's kind of fun. You and I talked about it yesterday. Our partnership group, Senior Living CPO, which means certified pre-owned. This is such a fun game. Jesse comes in. He wants to sell his house. And he goes, here's the problem. I'm in my house. It's full of stuff. Is your house full of stuff?
Yeah.
If someone told you have to paint your entire house right now, would that be a problem?
Yep.
Huge problem, right?
Yeah. You have furniture, you have stuff on the wall.
He wants to paint. He wants to touch up. Maybe he wants to recarpet. He's in an old home. No carpet or
we don't have carpet.
But here's the problem. We go, Jesse, your home's worth $450 today.
Yeah.
But if you did all these things, it's worth $5 to $525.
Yeah.
Okay. It's going to cost you 10 or 15 grand.
Yep.
Our partnership group comes in, our senior living CPO group. They literally buy the seller out of their home. People are like, but that's for a discount, right? No.
Nope.
It's not for a discount. And we can get into the details if you give us a call and we chat. But they front the cash to buy you out of your home. You have the cash to now either A, pay for your senior living room, B, purchase that new construction with zero stress, right?
Yeah.
C, purchase any home with zero stress. And what happens is you're out. We come in, we do the touch-ups and repairs, which could be $2,000. It could be 10 or 15. We agree on that. I have a client right now that we're going to put about 40 grand into their house. That 40
we have
grand,
another one that it's going to be about 50, but it'll create about 100,000.
Yeah, that 40 is going to be 75.
Yeah.
Not net, but it'll make a $75,000 difference. You're out of the home. You moved in your place. We turn around. We sell the home, and you actually receive the balance of the proceeds on, this is the fun part, the new higher price.
Yep.
You do pay a fee because the company takes a fee, but what's interesting is it's not a fix and flip program. These companies, Chantry knows, he was on the phone with one of them yesterday, they just live on the fee they charge to turn it, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Which, is going to be, 3 to 7% of the sales price in most cases. So it's so funny when we tell the people at the senior living facilities about this, they're like, wait a minute. You mean that we could have these people who are stressed to no end
That's the biggest thing.
It's about getting out. You mean we get them right out. Like take all the things that you absolutely need to do and get into that assisted living facility, right?
Yeah.
So, because Jesse, what happens with buyers? They go out, they're not ready to sell, and what do they find?
They find the house that they love that is in a price range where now they can't buy it, but they fall in love with the house before they can even do anything.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Like, and it makes it hard because what that does is it causes problems. Now, when they go back to sell their house, they're not logical. They're in love with this house, and no matter what we have to do to get it, and they have to think fast.
Or let's add an additional layer. Or they say, well, I'm meeting with a gal today at right here in one of those rooms who had her home on the market with another agent. It didn't sell. I called her. She said, well, I have to have that number or I'm not selling.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, okay. And my question was, did you talk to a lender? She said, well, no, I haven't talked to a lender. And I just mentioned, well, there's a lot of domino pieces that we could line up and chess pieces and all the analogies to help you figure this out, right? But she said, I need X to buy my next home. Mm-hmm. So now what's happened is she has literally pigeonholed herself.
Yeah. Without all the facts. She doesn't really know if she actually needs X.
And sharp lady. Here's what's funny.
But here's
funny, by the way. If you're listening and you're going, yeah, this is confusing. You're not dumb. Why would you understand how to do this?
Sure, it's complicated to us.
How many times have you and I, Chantry, had a conversation, and we do this a lot, and we're not thinking of things that maybe seem like they should be a no-brainer, but they're not.
Yeah.
Until we actually start digging in and looking at the data and brainstorming the solutions.
Having some experts give outside
ideas.
ideas.
We just don't know.
Well, Jesse,
what to know.
When Chantry and I, we kind of didn't rehearse, but talked about the show yesterday. And I said, while you're here, I need you to hop on my Cenlar. Cenlar is my the people who hold my mortgage. I need you to hop on the Cenlar website with me and help me figure out some weird stuff I have going on with escrow balances and property taxes because my payment actually went up because my property taxes had been, that's a whole separate show. I didn't file the form at the county and they were billing me as a second home. So I went and got my money reimbursed. So I was being taxed as a second home and my homeowners insurance went up and I'm trying to remove private mortgage insurance. So my point is we've been at this 2 decades, a couple of thousand home sales, and I'm asking Chantry in 10 minutes to log in and look at my stuff because
that's good.
I don't understand it.
Sure.
So as a consumer, you are not supposed to understand this. I think it's nice if you do some research, but so if folks are interested in this program, it's like, what's the catch? Well, let's meet and talk about it. First of all, you don't have to do it. And here's what's so fun, Jesse, is they actually provide 2 offers. Mm-hmm. They provide Chantry like a close in 10 days cash as is. Very few people are going to accept that offer.
Yeah.
But there's a percentage.
Yeah.
But the second part is the certified pre-owned offer, which is, hey, let's basically like a car, we're going to move you out, buy you out of the home, tune up your home, and then we're going to resell it, and you're going to participate in the net proceeds. And then the third option is always, none of those options may make sense. And then we can just talk about selling the home traditionally or right? Mm-hmm. I don't know.
Well, what it does is the most stressful thing. We're talking about bridge loans and contingent on selling and buying and selling together and how do we make this work and taking out home equity lines.
Yeah.
All those things increase stress, maximum stress. Very stressful. You were very stressed out when you found out how much all those payments were combined, and you're like, I just have to get out of this. Almost like meltdown at moment.
Dude, I had a $1,400 mortgage, which was awesome. A $1,600 HELOC,
right?
And then my new mortgage.
Yeah, stressed out to the max.
It just gets. You bleed yourself out.
Yeah.
Slowly than quickly.
So this I know you said CPO. What's the name of the program? So
certified pre-owned, so senior living CPO or basically new construction CPO, but it's certified pre-owned.
Certified pre-owned. This is the most stress-free way to buy and sell a house. To sell and buy, I should say. the most stress-free way. And in the end, done correctly, educated by you guys, it might not end up costing them anything.
Yeah, but here's what we're seeing. We're seeing people come out a few percentage points ahead, even after they pay, because this company has to take a fee for the process. Jesse and I could tell you 10 examples in the last 12 months, probably exactly 10, where we moved folks out, we handled all the stuff. And for instance, I've got this lovely couple in northern Utah. They purchased a home at Sand Hollow Resort. They got in over their head. She's dealing with cancer, second round of breast cancer. So they text me while we're sitting here. They live up there. They have this vacation home down here. I went in, I assessed everything. We partnered. I said, we're going to go in, we're going to deal with all this paint for you. I'm going to deal with a solar tube in one of the bathrooms that like, it's almost feels like a dungeon and it shouldn't. You guys, I don't want you to think about anything. We'll handle it.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say is don't start looking at your house and going, I'm going to sell my house. Let's fix it up. You as a consumer, you don't know what to do to maximize the dollar on that house. No. You're going to do all the things you would want to do to the house, but is that what everybody else would want done to the house?
Yeah, not necessarily what needs to be done.
So you guys come in. This is honestly your guys' biggest strong suit in this whole industry. Yep. And you've done, maybe it's because you've done it to yourself quite a few times and been very successful with it, is exactly what do we need to do to maximize the dollar? Yeah. Because like me, I would just start doing stuff, me and my wife, let's fix our house up. We might end up doing stuff that actually hurt it. You might come in and say, why'd you do that?
Yeah, that was not smart. Yeah.
Or you go do a massive major renovation that cost an astronomical amount of money and it wasn't necessary.
There's no ROI on it. Yeah. And for our listeners, Chantry Abbott's with us with Guild Mortgage. You can reach him 435-979-1775. Do you want to have it memorized?
That's pretty cool.
435-7. Yeah.
I feel bad now.
Yeah. It's because we put you on the show.
We're not on the same page of our relationship.
I know.
I have to look his number up.
think it's a DTR time. Let's define the relationship. But here's why I want folks to reach out to you. I want people to slow down, and I feel like talking to a lender is almost step one. It's almost pre-realtor in some cases. But Jesse and I will tell you how often we say, thanks for this big, long discussion about buying or selling. We want you to talk to our lender.
Yeah.
Right. Because if you look at this like this domino, 2 minutes we've got, guys, this domino chain. And there's a book called The One Thing. Chantry knows the book. Jesse knows the book. In the book, it was either in Norway or Sweden. They did some research on if you took a domino chain and every domino was exactly twice the size of the other. The first domino, they said, was like a half of an inch tall, and the last domino was like an 8-foot piece of solid wood. It was like a giant, like 300, 400-pound slab. That progression, right, from the tiniest domino to the tallest domino, you're able to knock down something very heavy. This is the progression of, if you do this right, you eliminate. That's why the certified pre-owned is so fascinating, because you avoid tons of inspection headaches and hangups on the back end, right?
Yep.
Or lowball offers because they want to do all the work and they're worried about X, Y, and Z.
I know. I've been a buyer. I'm a buyer now. And I look at homes and I'm like, well, it's going to take me $50K. Guys, Guild Mortgage, Chantry Abbott's with us. If you want to visit with us about the certified pre-owned program, which is just, I'm loving it, visit gostgeorge.com or Google the Larkin Group. Google the Larkin Group. Ironman St. George is Saturday, last round.
Nice.
10,000 people got an email from me this morning in our database talking about One Last Dance. I'm excited for that. So I would say it's not too late to race, but it's definitely too late to race Jesse.
Yeah, I don't think I'll be racing this year.
I think I'd stay out of it, buddy.
I'll be at Jellystone Park camping.
I think that's a great idea,
Nice.
buddy.
Yeah.
All right, you guys, thanks for being here. Talk to you soon, everybody.
Over and out.